Welcome to the Myesha podcast. I am your host, Myesha, and I'm so very happy to welcome you here. It is safe, it is fun, it is everything that we need. I'm learning and growing in this process and sharing and helping and doing my very best to help us all find our way back home. I recently had someone make a comment on a YouTube video of mine, and they said, Myesha, it seems like you're being very resentful of everything we work our whole life to get: marriage, wealth, these types of things. And I thought the comment was unique, and I wanted to expand on my response and my answer. I do feel like in life, we are working very hard for a lot of things. I think at this stage in my life, I do consider myself awakened. That means I'm self-aware of my reality. I'm aware of my illusions and my dark side, my shadow side, my temptation, where I typically want to go for comfort and for self-soothing and all these types of things. Like I'm just really aware of myself and how I function and how I govern myself. So I'm just going to preface what I'm about to say with, I just prefaced it with that, okay? I've done a lot of work. Uh, I've done hypnotherapy. I've done talk therapy. I've done plant medicine, Reiki healing. I've seen psychics. I've done candle magic. You name it. I've experienced it. I've done all the religious, the prayer, the fasting, all that for decades. I have done what else? Breath work, sound healing. I've talked to healers. I've talked to intuitives. I have, what else did I do on my 2-year journey? I've done all kinds of things to find and search for meaning. Okay. I've been on my journey. It was my healing journey. I've done 5 MEOs of DMT. I forgot that. I've done internal family systems, parts work, where you understand the different parts of yourself and you have conversations. It's like therapy, but it's just a different focus. I did this one other treatment, and it was very helpful. I need to get the name of it, but nonetheless, going on a journey and experiencing all these things kind of led me back home. It led me back to my center, the core of who I am, the version of myself that I remember being before life got real for me, before I went on a marriage for 18 years, and before I became whoever this person was that I needed to become. I rediscovered the parts of me that I left on the side of the road, and I also allowed space for integration for all of these parts to become me. And that has produced a profound new crisis, and that is seeing things from both sides, being the person that wanted means, like I wanted to be rich. I just knew that I loved nice things, and I didn't want to struggle, didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to go through what I saw people go through in life, especially how I grew up. And I got married, and it seems like it was always a pursuit. It was like always we were on the hunt for more ambition, more notoriety. I wanted to be famous. I enjoy people knowing me that I don't know. It was actually quite satisfying for me from a very young age. I remember when I first got married and I went to the neighborhood pharmacy, like a Walgreens type of store. I can't remember if it was Rite Aid or what it was before, Thrifties or whatever it was. And I gave my debit card. I bought some pads, and I gave my debit card, and the guy said, "Miss Chaney?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "Oh, I know your family." And I thought that was a big honor that people would know me that I didn't know. And I just kind of bought into this life, and it felt safe for me because it was an idea that I had about what my life should become. And I fed that illusion. I fed that fantasy. And I worked really hard to position myself to be the best version that I could be. I knew, and I would say this, that I was meant for more. I was serving in church every Sunday, but I knew there's more for me than these four walls. Okay, we can't come in here every single week and do the same thing and expect a different result. It was just something about it that felt limiting for me. My person, my liveliness, like I just felt like I wanted to explode. I just had so much more to give. And I stayed faithful, trusted God, was the best representation to me of God that I could be in the community. And we were very well known for what we did reality TV for 2 years. And that was meaningful. People knew me and that satisfied something. And in a lot of ways, I was creating a life that felt really good to my dysfunction. And it also felt like a prison. I've had all the expensive cars and luxury and trips and all these things. And I'm saying all that because I'm taking you somewhere. A few years ago, I went through a divorce and I lost everything that mattered to me. Okay. Didn't lose everything, but I lost everything that mattered to me. For all of these years, I had fed this illusion that we were meant to be something more than what we were. It was a searching outside of myself for satisfaction, for something notoriety, for being well known, for being wealthy, for having things and material possessions. I've always considered myself to be a down to earth person. So even though I had things, it never really affected me and who I was at my core. Okay. I was never snobby or uptight or, I just never connected with that. I was always like, like my people, we from the hood, we from Compton, like, what's up? We from Long Beach. Like, I just was down to earth. I had things that people would enjoy and people would look up to, and a marriage and a family and a home and all these things. Went through this divorce and pretty much lost everything that mattered to me. And I kissed the floor at that point. I couldn't see a path forward and it was very dark for me. Found myself searching, looking for meaning, looking for who I was. Moved my way through that. Came to this next chapter of my life, okay? And it was the last piece of loss. It was something that I knew eventually would come, and it had to do with my livelihood. I've shared this on the podcast before. And once that last piece, that my W-2 income, that's what I call it. Once that part was gone or leaving, it's like transitioning out, and that part of my life is coming to an end. I shared it with my ex-husband. I co-founded a big part of our business and continued working even through divorce so that I could sustain my lifestyle in my life. I was terminated from that position, and it brought me to another awakening. This awakening I expected, but I had no idea what was coming. And it was this. I went to what I would consider the bottom is financially. And let me explain. I had this radical sense from God that He was going to take care of me. And no matter what I had, I think I put all my trust in resources. I put all my trust in zeros in a bank account. I put all my trust in having the ability to go out and work and make money. And I don't think that I had all my trust in God. I trusted my aptitude. And this felt like the first time in a very long time that I decided to trust God. I decided to understand what it feels like to not have a plan B. I closed every other door of opportunity. I sat with myself and said, what kind of life do you want to create? What is it that you want to do for the rest of your life? How is it that you want to trust God? And I started to get crystal clear on that. And what it did was everything that wasn't important to me started to fall away. I sold all my possessions, anything of value that I owned. I have a few things, but 90% of it is gone. I got rid of everything. There's not a trace. Very few things that I own now, I owned before. Everything in my life is essentially new. I have nothing of value. And here's what surprised me. I felt the happiest, the most connected, and the most centered I've ever felt in my entire life. I realized, and this is the answer, long way to get there, but this is the answer to this lady's question or her statement, that it seems like I'm resentful of everything that we've all worked hard on or we've all worked hard for. I realized that I didn't need all the stuff. Didn't need to be rich, didn't need to be famous, didn't even need to be well known. That 20 years of my life I spent working for a complete illusion, because none of those things ever satisfied. It never made me feel enough. It wasn't fulfilling because I was betraying myself in the pursuit of those things. It was busy work so that I couldn't deal with the real problem that I was facing. Let me go write a book. Let me go on a tour. Let me create a record label. Let me record an album. I was constantly searching because I was not being a friend to myself, and I had to betray myself in order to stay in that condition, to stay in that marriage, to stay in that lifestyle, to stay in that box. I was not being true to me, and I was using external things to distract me from the truth. And the moment I got clear on who I was, what I was meant to do, what's important to me, and I got rid of the trappings of success on every level. When you see me out, that's part of the reason why, if you're watching on YouTube, I am not in makeup. I did not intentionally do my hair. I didn't get dressed, because I am living my life very honestly, that this is who I am. And it is enough. That I don't need all these extra things to somehow be enough. It's not that I'm resentful of anything in my life, because it was all necessary and purposeful. But what I am very clear about is focus on what matters. Find what is fulfilling and true for you. I spent 20 years of my life chasing what wasn't real. It was made up. It was somebody else's version of what was good and true. I realized that I had built a life on somebody else's idea of what we represent or who we are, until I was put in a position where I had to choose. Myesha, are you going to choose freedom? Are you going to choose happiness? Are you going to choose things? Are you going to go out and work to pay for a lifestyle, or are you going to have a life? And I chose to have a life, a beautiful life, a fulfilling life, a meaningful life. And I was just as shocked as you probably are. Because I said, but God, I thought I was meant to have all of this. And I thought this was, and God was like, that is just an illusion. That's not who you are. You don't need anything outside of yourself. You don't need, now I want a man. I'm very happy. I think we're wired for connection. So when I say need, I used to say I need, like I must have. And I've healed beyond that superficial kind of idea. Now I know I'm okay with myself in every way. If I have a lot of money, if I don't, God is my source. He provides for me and takes great care of me. If I have companionship or if I don't, I'm going to be a friend to myself. It's just, I just discovered that everything that I had spent all my life working hard for wasn't what I thought it would be. Because that wasn't the goal in the first place. Stuff outside of you will never fulfill you. It won't. And don't let anybody lie to you. I had it. I've driven the Bentleys and the Porsches and had the 4 or 5,000 square foot homes, and I've vacationed in San Tropez and Bora Bora, and I've been all over the world. I have Christian Louboutins, and now I never got the Birkin bag, okay? But I'm just saying, these things, they don't matter nearly as much as you might think they do. And when the person said to me, "You're unhappy or resentful of everything that we work our whole lives for," I said, shame on us. That had I known the real secret, you know what makes me sad? Is that I was in God's house and living a lie. I was in God's house, surrounded by so much faith and so much belief. When I had the secret, I had the answer to life all along. And yet it wasn't as clear to me until I am now here that I didn't need all those things. I think about how many of us are spending our time praying and fasting over things, over bills, over things that are movable and shiftable, right? Our necessities. Like, I don't know. It just made me, I had like a big crisis. Like, what? I don't need to be known. I don't have to have all of these things or wear these Rolexes and all of this. And I could, like, I just was in disbelief almost because I had invested so much into these things emotionally and in my thoughts. And one day, and we're gonna have, and we're gonna do, and we're gonna be, and oh, we're gonna be on the private jets, and until I got still. And I just could see the Bible verses come to life for me. When he would say, "If anything you sacrifice in this life for my sake, you receive tenfold." And it just clicked. Everything clicked to me. Everything clicked about Jesus and about his teaching. And now he said the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. And it just, there was never in the life of Jesus an emphasis on anything external. That those things are beautiful to experience, to have, to hold, to release, but they never make us. So if that's the case, if I spent 20 years of my life chasing something that was never going to satisfy me, what am I now going to do with the life that I have? How am I going to enjoy it? How am I going to find meaning? Do I go work the extra shift? No, you don't. What would it look like for you to intentionally create a life around what matters most? Don't wait for tragedy to help you make this decision like me. I mean, I don't want anybody to go through hard times and have to find the answer to what their soul is longing for in a dark place. You get to choose every day that you wake up what you want to do with your time. What do you want to do with your space? What do you want to do with who you are? Your life is worth so much more. I've decided to go and have a beautiful ride. And you might hear me talk more about things from this place, just for a while, because I'm rebuilding, reframing, re-strategizing, changing and laying a brand new foundation for a beautiful life, one that is real and one that is true. And I can't tell you how sweet it feels to me to be inside of my body, to live my simple life with my simple stuff. And sometimes I catch myself smiling because of the laughter I had with my daughter on the way to school, or sitting with my son and going over his check stub to teach him about what these taxes mean and what his net pay is versus his gross pay. And just some of these things that I used to maybe take for granted because it was like, well, I gotta go get this and and it was just movement and trying and hustling and making it happen and for what? For what? It didn't change a thing in my life. It was a vapor. It was here and then it was gone. And I had nothing to show for it because I was building a life on sand. Everything that you need is already inside of you. I'm going to be your friend and tell you that right now. Everything you need is already inside of you. It's not in the spouse. It's not in the promotion. It's not in the big house. We've been sold a lie. Everything you need is already inside of you. God is with you. Allow Him to help you create a life of meaning and purpose. We're not going to make it out of here alive, but we do have control over this moment right here. My hope and my prayer is that you find a way to make it your own. Make it true. Make it real, if that matters to you. Don't get to 70, 80, 95 and look back over your life and say, oh my goodness, I should have eaten the cake. Or, oh my goodness, I should have taken a better vacation. Or, oh my goodness, I should have spent more time with my loved ones. Or I should have tried more people and found love. I should have experienced more. I don't know, just the regret of having not done what you really wish you should have done. Do it now. Change it now. I'm so grateful for the time we get to share together. And hopefully this shed just a different perspective, a different POV for you. I don't know what I said to that woman on YouTube when she said that to me. But here's my summary. You get a life. You get one of them. Do the best you can with the breath you have in your body. The illusions, they will never satisfy. The hunt, the chase, the climb, it's empty. Find what feels true and give it everything you got. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what is true for you. What is meaningful for you? I'll see you soon.